So this is going to be a short one today. I haven't done a short one in quite a while. And I think this one is a little more personal to me because I think it's really kind of goofy, really, really funny in terms of its origins. And now, whenever people ask me about it, I can just direct them to this video instead of having to explain it 4,000 times. I'm probably going to make a Nightbot command just for this specific purpose. So if you see me streaming, do exclamation point Pac-Man, and it should pop up in the chat. I think that would be the funniest thing in the world. Don't tell anyone. Just if you watch this video, go into my live stream, do that. So we're gonna talk about collections and collecting memorabilia today. If you can't tell, I collect a lot of different random things, from VHS tapes to popcorn buckets to cool figurines from like anime thing, like the display thing. Like I got a Chainsaw Man in my background that I absolutely love. One of the biggest collections, though, that I have is comic books and, unironically, Pac-Man related memorabilia, which I'm sure if you watch the channel, you are very aware of the fact of how many Pac-Man I have. It's about 10 or so, maybe a little bit less than 10. But I own more Pac-Man than the average human being probably does. I own games more than probably the average human being does. And there's a very good reason for that. And I want to get into the origins of why I started collecting Pac-Man figurines, and then what I can only describe to you as the biggest rug pull in the world as the streamer who owns a lot of Pac-Man content. So let's wind back the clocks a little bit. I grew up with the PS2. That was my first ever console that I ever had. I played classics like Pac-Man World 2, Pac-Man World 3, which is underrated in my opinion, and one of my favorite kart race, actually my favorite kart racer in general, that is not like Mario Kart, and that would be Pac-Man World Rally, which I want to make a video just specifically even about that game. I'd love to do the other games in the Pac-Man World series, but I really, really want to do a Pac-Man World Rally video because I think that would be the most fun video I would ever make in my entire life. Not for anything except just my own pleasure and joy. I feel like that would be awesome to do. I don't know how long that video would be, but let me know if you guys want to see that. Maybe we'll do that on the main channel for a little video essay fun thing here. Maybe one of the sit-down ones instead of the ones where I stand and shit. But, growing up with Pac-Man, I played, those games. I played, like, there's this game called Namco's 50th Anniversary Museum, and it just has a bunch of different arcade games. And I played a lot of Pac-Man on there, too. Like Miss Pac-Man as well. I had played the arcade games that were featured in Pac-Man World. My personal favorite was, I believe it's called Pac-Mania, where you can, like, jump over the ghosts and shit. I thought that was a really cool mechanic that they did, and I like the 3D environment there. It's goofy and cool, and I like it a lot. But, yeah, I would say that I am a significant fan of Pac-Man. We'll come back to that in a minute, I promise. So, I went to the city maybe about a year or so ago. I think it was for a concert. We went to this anime store, and I got myself my first ever Pac-Man figurine. It was like adjustable and posable. I believe that was the first one I got. I may have gotten like a little one of those from one of those like Japanese quarter machines too, like a little tiny one that you like put together and assemble. But this was like the first real big cool looking figurine that I had gotten. And I was hyped as shit about it. And I went and was talking with someone, and I was telling them, like, oh, it's really cool. I like being able to collect figurines and shit. And they looked at me and said, wouldn't it be really, really funny if every month you went and bought another Pac-Man, put it in your background, and didn't say a word about it? And I lost it. That was the funniest fucking thing I had ever heard in my life. And I was like, that is amazing. So for the next couple of months after that, I started buying Pac-Man figurines. And mainly, they were either classic Pac-Man or in the Pac-Man World style. Like, my favorite, I think, out of the Funko ones that I got, just a random fun fact, is the miniature one because it's round. The other one is, like, oblong. Oh, that's an alarm. Sorry about that. But yeah, I played into the bit. I've mentioned it very briefly on stream, here and there, I own Pac-Man shirt. And I think it's a really fun thing. I really enjoy Pac-Man. But here is the thing, the bit has gone on for a very long time, and what I am going to tell you now might shock you. But I am not as much of a Pac-Man fan as I am a Dig Dug fan. Now, if you don't know, Dig Dug is it's my favorite arcade game to exist, period. I like the simplicity of it. I like the sort of challenge that it does bring, though, with having to, dig out the world and manage the monsters and such like that, and, finding ways to be able to blow them up and making sure that none of them escape so you can get like a high-ass fucking score and crush them with rocks. I love Dig Dug. It's a very fun game for me. But yeah, they don't make merchandise really for my boy Dig Dug or Puka or Flagar. They don't do that fucking often. And it makes me sad and depresso espresso, man. Like it really frustrates me to my core. Like I have maybe 2 or 3 pieces of Dig Dug merchandise. One of them is a wall hanging thing of the little tomato with eyes. His name is Puka, by the way. If you didn't know who Puka was, that's the little tomato with the goggles on. He's my favorite character from that franchise. But I think I have maybe like I don't know where it is, but I think I have a Flygar or a little Dig Dug. But yeah, it's incredibly difficult to find Dig Dug merch because it doesn't exist. Except for like Funko Pops and the occasional random wall mount decal thingamabob, doodad thing. And it makes me upset. But do you know what they sell a shit ton of? Do you know what character from Namco's library has a shit ton of merchandise that I'm going to eventually start buying more of? Fucking Pac-Man. So I buy Pac-Man merchandise. As much as I am a fan of Pac-Man, I like it. Mainly, it's just for the bit at this point, because I can't find Dig Dug merchandise unless it's like fan-made or custom stuff, which I'm all for supporting that, but I don't have a shit ton of money to spend on like $100 fucking little figurine. And most people, even then, they don't make a lot of fan merch for Dig Dug. You go to like Box Lunch and shit, and it doesn't exist. Nobody fucking cares about Dig Dug. That's really depressing. Again, I love Dig Dug. It's my favorite arcade game ever, and I wish that he got his respect. Where's the Dig Dug remastered, the Dig Dug re-dig or some shit instead of Pac-Man World repack? Where's my boy Dig Dug getting his 3D adventure game? I'm playing a little bit up a little bit, but I really do like Dig Dug, and that is why I buy Pac-Man merchandise, because it's much easier to buy Pac-Man merchandise when there's only like 6 pieces of actual Dig Dug merchandise that actually fucking exist. So, if you happen to know any Dig Dug merchandise that does exist that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, please feel free to let me know what I should be looking up on eBay or Amazon, and when I have the money, I will add to my collection of randomly assorted Dig Dug merchandise, because, again, he's my favorite arcade character ever. And yeah, but yeah, that's the Pac-Man origins. That's why I collect Pac-Man. Again, as much as I am a Pac-Man fan, at this point, it's much funnier to collect a shit ton of Pac-Man than it is to be as huge of a Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man. Pac-Man World 2 is one of my favorite PS2 games, period. There's a reason that I stream it during my charity events. It's because it's a very fun game, and I loved the shit. I was hyper fixated on Pac-Man World 2 Repack when it came out. I have been going through it as much as I can, trying to get every fucking achievement, every fucking medal in that game, and I love the game to death. I love it to pieces. It is a great remaster. I highly encourage that if you haven't played. I'm not shilling for Namco. I was about to say Nintendo, but no. Yeah, I don't know. I like those games, but man, give me a remastered Dig Dug, Namco. That's all I ask for. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching today's little militia chat, and thank you for letting me ramble on about arcade characters that nobody probably gives as much of a shit about as I do. Anyway, have a good night. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.